learning new details today about the potential sale of the Bangor Mall. State Senator Joe Baldacci announced yesterday a group of investors headed by one businessman in particular has signed a purchase and sale agreement for the property. He wouldn't reveal any more information about the buyer except that he comes from a family that's been in business locally for multiple generations. He says the buyer is committed to redevelopment and making the mall more commercially viable. It's possible the property could be used for other purposes too, after Bangor rezoned the area in 2022 to allow housing to be built there. Baldacci says there's still work to be done to make it to closing, but a signed contract indicates both sides are committed to the sale as long as certain conditions are met.
It's a great sign about our community that there are a group of local investors who are not only interested, but starting to put their money where their mouth is and wanting to take this property back from an out-of-state absentee landlord and try to make this a better, an improved property that serves the whole community, the whole region, economic region, as well as helps taxpayers by increasing the taxable base out there.
Baldacci says there were multiple parties interested in the mall, which is currently assessed for around $13.5 million. Namdar, a New York-based realty group, bought the property for $12.6 million in 2019. We have reached out to Namdar, but have not heard back.